So we're going to start with our test taking skills. We're going to start with problem number 1. It says the counter shows the area of the United States in square kilometers. What is the value of the digit 1 in this number? All right. Now, for place value questions, the thing that's going to help you the most, more than anything else, is going to be having a place value chart. That is going to help you more than anything else. On this problem, since they wrote our numbers nice and big and they already put them in boxes, we don't have to draw our own place value chart. We can kind of use theirs. If they give us the number and it's smaller, we'd want to make our own. But like I said, since they already have our numbers in boxes, since the numbers are already nice and big, we don't have to make our own place value chart here. So I'm just going to label the place values. And I'm going to start with the smallest one. What is the smallest place value we have here? Kylie. Okay, the ones place. And then remember, place value has a pattern. It's always ones, tens, and hundreds. And then the pattern is going to start to repeat itself. So after the hundreds, who can tell me what place value goes in front of that? Nakai? Thousands, so the 1000s. And after the thousands, what place value is next? Irene? I don't know if Irene's frozen. Oh yeah, she was. Okay. Who can tell me, after the thousands place, what comes next? Bailey? 10,000s. Good. After the 10,000s, what's next? Jada, what's next? Hundred thousands. Perfect. And remember, there's that pattern. Ones, tens, hundreds. 1,000, 10,000, 100,000. What about the next place values? Who can help me? After the 100,000s, what's the next one? Nakai.
Million.
Million. Okay, fantastic. Now, if I look here, I have 2 zeros here. Since I have 2 zeros, I'm not going to worry about making my place values here. If I had some other numbers, some bigger numbers after the zeros, then I would make sure to put my place values. But here, they're empty. There's nothing there, so I'm not even going to worry about putting my place values there. I'm going to stop here at millions. And they're asking us, what is the value of the digit 1? So I need to find where or what place value the number 1 is in. Who can tell me, if I look for the digit 1, if I look for the number 1, what place value is that number 1? Jaylene?
100,000.
The 100,000s, and I'm going to circle it because it's important. It's part of my question. So the value of that 1 is 100,000. Not just a regular plain 1. I have my answer choices here, and I notice that they have zeros after them, right? what I'm going to do is, just to make sure I have the correct amount of zeros, I'm going to use this place value chart to help me and figure out how many zeros should there be. So I'm going to pretend like I took this 1 and just dragged it down. I'm going to put 1 right underneath it. Just like I took it with my hand and dragged it down here. And then all of my other numbers, since I'm not focusing on them, since they're not my priority, I'm going to put zeros instead of those numbers. So instead of a 4, I put a 0. Instead of a 7, I put a 0. Instead of a 5, I put a 0. Instead of the 8, I put a 0. And instead of the 3, I put a 0. I notice that there's a comma here. I don't want to move that. I don't want to get rid of it. I'm going to put a comma. So this is the value of my number. Which one of the answer choices matches what I have here? Which answer choice would be correct? Okay, Brianna. Riley. Answer choice A. It has 1 and it has the correct amount of zeros. I could even count them and be sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Like I said, problem number 1 was pretty good for us because they made the numbers nice and big and they already kind of drew the place value chart for us. But if they give us a number and let's say the number is smaller, it's written smaller, then I'd want to write my own place value chart. The one thing I never want to do, that I still see people doing all the time, is when they see the number up here, they'll try to write a really teeny tiny itty bitty little place value chart and try to squeeze it all in there. Don't do that. Don't try to squeeze your place value chart into a little teeny tiny space. They give you all this extra room to work with. And you don't get extra points for leaving a nice clean paper. So use the space. Make sure that you use it up. Use as much space as you need. So that way you get the correct answer. It's much, much better to have a messy paper and get 100 than have a perfectly clean paper and get a 50. So if you need the space, use the space. Don't be afraid to write on the paper. Okay. We're going to look at problem 2. The expanded notation of a number is shown. Give us our expanded notation. What is the number written in standard form? We practiced with expanded notation before. We said that's where we took our number and we stretched it apart by the different place values. And that's all they did here. They took a number and they stretched it apart using the different place values. What we have to do is we have to kind of put the numbers back together. Hang on just a second. So, expanded notation, all we're going to do is put the number back together. To do that, I'm going to start with whatever number is the biggest. If I know what number is the biggest, I know how many place values I need. So they tell me 6 times 100 million. If I don't know that it's the 100 millions, the other thing I could do is count how many spaces I need on the place value chart. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I need 9 places on my place value chart. I'm going to make sure that my place value chart has at least those 9 spaces. I'm going to start just like we did up here with the smallest side. I'm going to start with the ones place. What comes after the ones? Okay?
10.
10. And again, I'm not going to squish my numbers together. I have the room. I'm going to use it. I'm going to give them a little bit of space. Put a line in between. After the 10, what place value would come next? Bella, what place value would I have next? I have the ones, I have the tens, and then I would have what? What's our pattern, Bella? Ones, tens, hundreds. Ones, tens, hundreds. Okay, so that's only 3 place values. And then we have our pattern that's going to repeat. Let's start all over with the ones. This time it's not just ones, it's 1,000. And then if my pattern is repeating, it would be 10,000. And again, checking my pattern, ones, tens, 100,000. Just like we saw in problem 1. And then my pattern would repeat after that. After my 100,000, what place value would be next? We had ones, tens, hundreds, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000. What's after that? Brianna? Millions. After the millions, what would come next in our pattern? Ones, tens, hundreds, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000. Million. Bailey? $10,000,000. And there's one last place value, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Need one more. So what's next in my pattern? Ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000, 100,000, million, 10,000,000. What? Okay?
100 million.
100,000,000. And I can't forget my commas. Remember, I need a comma every 3 place values. It's always groups of 3. So 1, 2, 3, comma. 1, 2, 3, comma. Then I'm just going to start putting my numbers from my problem into my place value chart. Make sure we have our cameras on, everyone. I'm going to start with the biggest one they give me. There's a 6 in the 100,000,000 place. And again, if you're ever not sure, I don't know what place value this is. Count how many place values till you get to the 1. that's where it goes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this goes, the 6 goes into the ninth place value. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's where my 6 belongs. Okay. I'm going to put a check mark on this. Tell myself I already did it. I did that first one. Then I'm going to look at the next number. There's a 3 in my number, and it's in the millions place. And again, if I'm not sure it's the millions, I can check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to go 7 place values and put my 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, I put the 3. Now, do you all notice something about my number? I didn't skip anything, but what do I notice in my place value chart? What happened? Bailey? You're right, I have to remember. Expanded notation and expanded form, if there's a 0, they skip it, because there's nothing there. So here, if I know the 3 goes into the millions place, there's a blank spot here, they're telling me there's a 0. Alright, now I can continue putting my numbers in. The next number I put in my place value chart is a 5. It's in the hundred thousands place. And again, I can double check and be sure. Let's see how many place values I go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so 6 place value. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's my 5. Again, I'm going to put a check mark. I did the 5 already. The next digit is a 4. Again, we count my place values, see where to put it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to go 5 place values over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's where the digit goes. Okay, I can see that I only have a few spaces left. The next digit is an 8. If I look, it says it's in the thousands place. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 place value. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's where my 8 goes. If I look at the next one, there's a 3 in the hundreds place. 1, 2, 3. Have to move it 3 place values. 1, 2, 3. And the last one says 5 times 1. So there's a 5 in the ones place, the first place value. And again, I see a blank here. There's a space in between two of my numbers. But like Bailey reminded me, when I have expanded form or when I have expanded notation, they skip zeros. So any of these place values that are empty, because there's a 0 there. So here's my number. Oh, almost forgot my comma. But I need to look at my answer choices now. When they give you really big numbers, don't try to look at the whole number all together. They love to take two numbers and switch them around, put them in different places, and try and trick us. Look at it in those chunks of 3. So my first chunk of 3 numbers should say 603. If my answer choice doesn't start with 603, I'm going to cross it out. F starts with 6, 3. That doesn't match. I'm going to cross it out. G starts with 6. That's not what I want either. I'm going to cross it out. H starts with 603. J starts with 603. So both of those are fine for now. Now I'm going to check the next chunk of 3. 5, 4, 8. H has 5, 4, 8. And J has 5, 4, 8. Okay, both of those are fine. Now my last chunk of 3. 3, 0, 5. H says 3, 5, 1. That doesn't match. J says 3, 0, 5. That one does. There's only one answer choice that matched all 3 of those chunks. And it's answer choice J. All right, let me do this. Okay. A total of 88,880 tickets were sold at the county fair this year. Which statement about this number is true? We saw questions like this yesterday. I told you one of the things that will help you on a math problem, if they ever ask you true or not true, one thing you can do to keep yourself from getting tricked is next to all of your answer choices, we're going to put down a true and a false. If I put down a true and a false, it's much harder for them to trick me because, like I told you, there will always be one answer choice that's different than the others. Brianna, make sure we're sitting up. Okay, they give me my number here. 88,880. Just like I did on problem 2. I'm going to put my numbers in a place value chart. This time I'm going to put them down here at the bottom. So we have 88,880. The good thing is this. I already made a place value chart up here with all of my place values. So when I make this one down here, I don't have to try all over again and think, oh man, what place value is first and then what place value comes after that? I can look up here and see what my order is. I'm going to copy from my place values up here. Ones, tens, hundreds, 1,000, 10,000. And for this place value chart, I can stop there. I don't have to go any further. There's no more numbers. Okay. Let's read our answer choices. And let's see if we can find the one that's true. The value of the digit in the thousands place, right here, is 1/10 the value of the digit in the 10,000s. Okay, who can tell me? The thousands one right here, is that the bigger place value or is it the smaller place value? Aideen?
The smaller place.
This is the smaller place value. We talked about this yesterday. There are two answer choices, two things that it could be. If the place value is bigger, who remembers what would the answer be? If it's bigger, how much bigger will it be? Kylie? It will be 10 times bigger. Okay, who can tell me the opposite? If it's smaller, how much smaller will it be? Nakai?
1/10.
1/10 smaller. So Haideen, you said that the thousands place is the smaller place value. Does 1/10 match with smaller? Yes, so I'm going to circle true. Okay, B, the value of the digit in the hundreds place is 10 times the value of the digit in the thousands. So who can tell me? The hundreds place, is that the bigger place value or the smaller place value? Kylie, is that the bigger place value or the smaller place value? It's the smaller. And Kylie, if it's the smaller place value, does 10 times match with smaller? Nope, does not match. So that's false. C, the value of the digit in the thousands place, okay, back to our thousands, is 1/10 the value of the digit in the hundreds place. Okay, so they said the thousands is 1/10 the value of the hundreds. Who can tell me? The thousands place, is that the bigger or the smaller place value? Okay?
Bigger.
It's the bigger place value. And Nakai, does 1/10 match with bigger?
No.
No, those are false. Okay? Answer choice D. The value of the digit in the tens place is 10 times the value of the digit in the thousands place. Who can tell me? The tens place, is it the bigger place value or the smaller place value? What would it be? Alexa? The smaller place value. Alexa, does 10 times belong with smaller? No, it doesn't, so that's also false. There's something else I'll tell you guys. On questions like this, there are two things. Well, really, there are two things that will automatically make it wrong. Two things that if you see it, you can automatically cross it out, don't have to look at it. Number one is if they say something that is not 10 times or 1/10. If it says like the number here is 8 that they're looking at, they might say 8 times or 80 times or 1/8. If they say anything that is not 10 times or 1/10, It's wrong. That's not our answer. The other thing I want you to watch out for is like what they did here on answer choice D. When they compare the place values and the place values are not next to each other. If the place values are not next to each other, it's probably not going to be your answer choice. So if you notice here, like they compared the tens place to the thousands place, they skipped a whole place value. That's probably not the one that's going to be your answer choice. And in our case, that was true. It wasn't our answer choice. The one that was true was A. There is a backside to this paper, but before I get to the backside with these three problems, is there anything that anyone's like confused about, or it doesn't make sense, or we don't know why we're doing that, or anything like that? Do we have any questions about the problem on the first page? No, are we all good? Okay. The back page is also place value question. So 2 more place value questions. Number 4. How is the numeral 3,806,058,241 written in standard form? Okay, so they give me the number, but they gave it to me in word form. They spelled it out. They want it in standard form. Standard form just means they want it in regular form. They want it the way we normally see numbers. Just like the other problems, place value chart is going to be very, very useful here. I noticed they went up to my billions. So my place value chart has to go up to the billions. Again, on the other page, I made a place value chart. So I don't have to start all over again thinking, oh man, what place value goes next to which one? I can go back and go, oh yeah, look, they're right here. So I can start copying them from there. Ones, tens, hundreds. So I'm going to start there. Ones, tens, hundreds. Who can tell me what's after the hundreds? I have ones, tens, hundreds. Bella, can you give me the next group? Okay, thousands, and after thousands, what would be next, Bella? 10,000, and then 100,000. Awesome. All right. Who can give me the next group? Ones, tens, hundreds, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000. Which group of place values comes next? Brianna, what place values would come next? Million, and then what's the next one? And then awesome. Okay. Keep it going because we have to go up a little bit further than that. After the 100 million, what's next? On this page, if you needed to, this is where I would put my work. If I notice like, oh, I'm going to run out of room up here, put it down here. You have plenty of room this way. Or if you wanted to, you could turn your paper sideways and use all this room here.
Okay.
What would be after the 100 millions place? Okay?
Billion.
Billions. And after the billions, what would be next, Nakai?
10 billion.
10 billion, and then what's last? 100
100
billion. Okay. So we'd have 10 billion. Oh, you know what? I don't actually have to put the 10 billion. I could stop at billion. And I'll show you why right now. First, I'm going to take this part off, but I'll show you why we can stop at billion. Okay. So, remember, we break our place values up into groups of 3, just like we were doing right now. Who remembers, what do we put between those groups of 3 to break them up? What was that little mark we put between the groups of 3? Jaylene, what's the little mark we put there? A comma. So I'm going to put my commas where they belong. Ones, tens, hundreds, comma. 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, comma. Million, 10 million, 100 million, comma. So the commas are going to be very, very useful for us. If I look in my Word form, where they spelled the number out for me, they also have commas. One there. There's one there. There's one there. Yes, Jaylene. If it's messed up and you want to redo it, absolutely, go ahead. The commas in my Word form are going to match the commas in my standard form. So wherever there's a comma here, there has to be a comma there. So I can see that my number, even in Word form, gets broken up into chunks. Like I told you with the other problem, especially with large numbers, don't try to look at it all together. Break it up into those chunks, chunks of 3. So here's the first comma. I'm going to look in front of the first comma. Who can read for me, what does it say in front of that first comma? Haley, what does it say in front of that first comma?
billion.
3 billion. Okay. Haley, how would I write the number 3? Awesome. Fantastic. I would just put a 3 in the billions place. And since it just says 3, I don't need 2 place values or 3 place values to put a number 3, because a 3 is just by itself. It's not 30, it's not 300, it's just 3. Okay, next I'm going to check the chunk that comes right afterward. Who can read what it says here for me? We had 3 billion. What does that next chunk say between those next 2 commas? Nakai?
806 million.
Okay. So, Nakai, how would I write the number 806?
I read it, this.
Good catch. If I put a 6 here, that's 860. But this says 806. So in the middle, I have to put a 0. And look, I can keep my commas exactly where they are. All right. Next chunk of numbers. Who can read for me what it says in my next chunk? We did 3 billion. We did 806 million. What does the next chunk say? Bailey, what does the next chunk say? Remember, my paper is the same as yours, so if you want to look and read it off yours, if that's easier for you, you can do that. What does the next chunk say? We already did 3 billion. We did 806 million. So what does this next part say, Bailey? Okay, so Bailey, how would I write the number 58? Because I want it to fit here, in these 3 place values. How would I write the number 58? Mm-hmm. And what? Okay. Bailey, do me a favor. Take your hand, kiss your brain. Fantastic job. That's a tricky one. Because I have to remember, if it's just 58, I can't put the 5 over here. Because that would make it 500. But they just told me it's 50. Now I have one last question for you. I have an empty place value here, Bailey. What can I do to this empty place value so that it's not empty? Put a 0. Awesome. All right. We have one last chunk of place values. Who can read for me what it says in that one last chunk of place values there? Kylie, what does it say in that last chunk of place values? Okay. How would I write that, Kylie? I have to have 3 place values left. How would I write that? Okay. Okay. Perfect. I don't have any blank spaces. This is what my number should look like. And again, I'm not going to try to look at the number all together. That's way too much. I'm going to look at it in chunks. And I'm going to see what answer choice matches. The first chunk is just a 3. So if my place value, or if my answer choice doesn't start with just a 3 by itself, I'm getting rid of it. F starts with a 38. That's not it. G starts with a 3. H starts with a 3. And J starts with a 3. The next chunk, the next group of 3, says 806. G has 806. H has 806. J has 086. No, that's not what I want. And you can see what I mean when I tell you that they try to just switch numbers around. They have a 0, they have an 8, and they have a 6. They just put them in the wrong order. And if we try to look at all the numbers together, it's very easy for us to just go, oh yeah, there's a 0 there, and there's an 8 there, and there's a 6. That's probably the correct one. The next group of numbers is 058. 058. 580. I don't even have to look at the last one because I already know that F has a mistake, H has a mistake, and J has a mistake. So my answer has to be all right. Last problem on our test taking skills. How does the 6 in the number 761,405 compare to the 6 in the number 16,283? This time they gave me two numbers. Since they want me to compare the numbers, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make one place value chart and just make it longer. If I make the place value chart longer, I'll be able to put one number on top and one number on the bottom. And that way it'll be easier for me to compare them. Again, you don't have to try really hard trying to remember the numbers from scratch. You don't have to cover this up when you start working on the next one. You have it here. Use it. My place value chart doesn't have to be as big because my numbers aren't as big. If I look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I need at least 6 place values. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Well, if I make my place value chart with 6 places, my second number will fit no problem. It'll even have extra room. So I'm going to copy from my place value chart up here. Ones, tens, hundreds, thousand, and thousand, hundred, thousand. And there's 1, 2, 3, comma, 4, 5, 6. So I can stop there. I'm going to make my lines a little bit longer this time. Because remember, I want to be able to put two numbers in here, kind of stacked on top of each other. I'm going to put my first number here. 7, 6, 1, comma, 4, 0, 5. And then right underneath that, I'm going to write the second number. This is where I need to be a little careful. Look at where the comma is. The comma can't move. So when I write my number, all of my commas should be lined up. So I know that the comma in this number needs to go here. I even have a line to help me keep them lined up. So 1, 6, comma, 2, 8. So I should have one blank space here. And they're asking me about the number 6. So I'm going to circle the number 6. One here and one here. Look at our answer choices. A, they both represent 6,000. Are both of my 6's in the thousands place? Ezekiel, if I look at my 6's, are they both in the thousands place? What do you think? If I look at both of these, are they both in my thousands place? Okay. So this place value here, Ezekiel, what is it? 10,000. Is it 10,000 the same as 1,000? Or are they different? They're different, right? If I owe you $10,000, Ezekiel, I can't give you $1,000 and go, here's all the money. It's not the same, right? Right. So when they say that they both represent 6,000, one of them does. This one down here does. It's in the thousands place. But this 6 is bigger. It represents more. This is 10,000. That's 60,000. That's a lot more than just 6,000. Again, if someone owes you $60,000, Ezekiel, you're not going to be happy if they come to you with only 6,000 and go, here you go, here's all the money. Right. Okay, so we can't pick that one. They're not both the same. They're different values because they're in different place values. B. The value of the 6 and 761,405, my top number, this 6 right here, is 1/10 the value of the 6 in 16,283, bottom number. Well, we just talked about this. This 6 here, is this 6 bigger or is this 6 smaller? Kylie? Okay, but this one, the one in the 10,000s. Okay, so this is the bigger 6. And Kylie, if this 6 is bigger, does that match with 1/10? No, it should be 10 times. So that's not right. Because 1/10 is only if it's smaller. Okay? C. They both represent the same value. So they're trying to tell me that these two 6s are equal. That they're exactly the same. Who can tell me, are both of these 6s exactly the same? There's no difference. What do you think, Alexa? Are both of these 6s equal? Are they the same? No, they're different because they're in different place values. They can't be the same. Answer choice D. The value of the 6 in 761,405, my top number, this one right here, is 10 times the value of the 6 in 16,283. Okay. So, earlier, Kylie, you told me that this 6, the 6 in my first number, was it bigger or smaller? Okay. Who can tell me? If my number is bigger, does that match with saying 10 times? Does 10 times go with the number being bigger? Kylie? Will it match? Yes, it matches. So that one's correct. Even if they give you two numbers, you can still compare the digits. If they give you two numbers, just make sure that you make your place value chart a little bit taller, a little bit longer. So you can fit both numbers in them. Okay. Does anyone have any questions or is confused about either of these two problems? Do we have any questions or anything else we need help on with these two problems? Okay, so we're good?